Are you ready to put your casting director hat on?
I am. I'll send you my rate. We'll send DCR
So-
rate after this.
So we've discussed doing this potentially about a number of different characters. We missed the boat on Superman.
We
We'll
did.
get around to doing some others at some other time. But bearing in mind that there's a freeze on casting at the minute because of SAG-AFTRA strikes,
Yes.
it also means that nothing's moving. So it gives us a bit of time to actually think about who we think do a good job.
This is true.
I'm going to be honest. I've gone rogue with my picks for Batman.
I'm
talking so rogue that you might have to Google these people.
Oh god, okay, I'll get rid. I probably will, even if you hadn't gone rogue. I'll be honest. I'm so bad with names and faces.
So I've gone with 3 selections. I'm not gonna say who they are yet. But I've gone one to be like an older style Batman, someone who I look at and I can imagine they already have a 10-year-old son like Damian.
Okay.
As well as already having gone 2 or 3 Robins, who could then be like 10. Dick Grayson started when he was like 10 years old. Say he's like 18 now. This needs to be like, he needs to have been Batman for 8 years at least, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So I've gone for someone who I can believe is Batman for at least a decade.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest. I have not seen this man in anything.
Oh.
This one is based off the vibe I get from him and the way his acting is spoken about on IMDb and the kind of way he approaches roles. Because I was really struggling to find someone the right age. So if anyone can find someone who looks like this Don and definitely has the acting skills, we are onto a moneymaker.
I'm ready.
And I say this in the least offensive way possible because he's not an old man, but my old Batman casting, bearing in mind you want this person to be able to do the job for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Is Luke Bracey, an Australian actor. He made a lot of his money or got his rise through Home and Away. He's since been in G.I. Joe films. He's been in the Elvis film. He did a remake of Point Break, which I'm sure is terrible. But I look at him and I'm like, I could see him as Bruce Wayne. Yeah, you might have to darken up the hair a little bit, but if you scroll down, there are some pictures where he's not as blonde.
Yeah.
So I don't think like you could darken the hair a little bit. Yeah. But I could see him being Bruce Wayne. This is the brilliant bit about trying to work out actors to play Bruce Wayne. Very easy to find a picture of them in a suit.
Yes. Okay, so I've done similar. I essentially sort of have 4 because my younger one, I have a couple of like variations of how young, sort of middle.
Yeah.
But my older one, I also did an older, and I have like an interesting one. So my older one, I've gone Tom Ellis. Now you'll know Tom Ellis
hate that.
from Lucifer.
I don't know him from Lucifer.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna out my girlfriend here.
Oh.
I know her from Miranda.
Okay.
The British comedy show where he plays the love interest, because she's a big fan of that show and she's watched it a number of times. And like when it's on in the background, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm like, I'll turn that off. I enjoy it; it's quite funny. But that is actually when I think of Tom Ellis, that's what I think of him from.
So, I know him mainly from watching Lucifer, and I could see him very much as a Bruce Wayne, and I could see him like I think he's in his 40s now. So he's definitely on the upper. Like, if you think that my worry would be like, obviously, like you say, this is someone that's going to have to do this role for like a good 10, 15 years.
When I was Googling this role and like the kind of actors I was looking for, I realized how much money keeps you looking young.
Yeah. Yep, money and good genetics.
Because everyone I thought was going to be in my kind of age range is like 5 to 10 years older.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I was like, oh shit, I need to look 10 years younger than the people I thought I was casting here.
But yeah, so I've got Tom Ellis. I thought I think he has appeared in the Flash CW once.
Yes, he has.
And I know he has an interest in wanting to be in a superhero or into the world of superhero content. So,
are you ready to laugh? Sorry, I googled Tom Ellis just to make sure, see if there was anything else he was in.
okay.
That I would know of, and the top related questions. Why does Tom Ellis have a British accent?
Oh my god,
Because
yes, I
he's
see
British.
it. But you click on the thing and it's like, Thomas was born in Wales. That's why.
It's fucking hilarious,
Honestly.
man. So my young Bruce Wayne,
okay.
Batman. Now, people are going to need to, are going to need to Google this, even if they know the actor, because they need to get the image they're going to have of this person out of their mind.
Okay.
I've gone for Nolan Gould. Gould.
Yep.
He played Luke on Modern Family.
Oh my god, he did.
But if you look at him now, there's a picture from his Instagram that I think gives the energy I'm looking for perfectly, where he sat in front of his doorstep with a hiking sack.
Yes, I see it.
He's got the curly hair and a beard. That looks, granted, a bit happier, but that looks like Bruce Wayne coming back from learning how to be Batman.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's 24 years old. He is incredibly intelligent. He's a very, very good actor. He's in great shape. He could play Batman for 20 years.
Yeah.
He is a Mensa genius based on his IQ. He's in phenomenal shape. He could definitely play Bruce Wayne.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could see that.
I told you it was a rogue shout, and people need to not think Luke Dumfries. They need to go look what he looks like now. Because this guy is ready to be a superhero. And so I think he could do Batman really well.
I have young, but I have kind of like a young and then kind of a medium, because they were on kind of, you can't really class them as young. But so I'll go with the medium one.
Okay.
Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
I've been burnt by him too many times. How old is he these days?
He's 33.
Okay.
So it's like he's kind of feels weird to say young when we're talking like 20s. But he could do a good
I just refuse to cast him in another superhero project until I've seen Craven.
Fair. Obviously we've got Craven coming out, which might burn things. But it's like if
he's also done a lot of work with Marvel at this point.
But that's like I kind of like the idea, but I didn't know where to fit him.
It's 100%. He's got the vibe.
My actual young pick, you're gonna look at it and go, not sure that looks like a Batman. But you've got to think.
I'm sure they get them on that DC cocktail, they'll be fine.
There's that, but there's also like you've got to think young Bruce Wayne who's like is only just becoming Batman and trying to get out of like just being the spoiled rich boy.
Okay.
Charlie Heaton. People will know him from Stranger Things.
As someone who's not watched Stranger Things, I won't. Is he not quite old?
He's only in his 20s. I forget exactly.
He looks, no offense, like he's seen better days for 29 years old. I mean, you're 45 for fuck's sake.
But like, I can on some of the things when he's in a suit and he's got like a proper deadpan stare, I can see him as a bit more like hates the world, like rich boy.
Yeah.
And buff him up a bit, he could have that like facial expression.
I'm looking at these pictures of him, and he's definitely exuding the right energy. It's 100%. Obviously, he can put on muscle. Everyone can put on muscle. Would the muscle make him look weird? I don't think it would. I don't like the idea of Batman being fucking jacked to the nines anyway. He needs to be athletic, so he needs to be. He needs to, what the guys do is what's it called, calisthenics, where they're just shredded, but like still a medium size. I think he could pull off that build.
Yeah. And
But you
especially for
definitely
like,
need to put on a bit of Timber.
yeah.
He is a slender guy.
But I remembered him from that, like the very deadpan stare, which gives me very I'm done with Gotham.
You can see him crouching on top of a like fucking building, going, "I am the knight."
Yeah. And also just being like pissed off with everybody.
Yeah. No, I actually quite like that casting. 100%.
What's
Now,
your out of the box?
so I'll be honest. I was searching and I had this guy in mind, and then I saw how old he was, and I was like, if I'm thinking he needs to do this for 15 years, it probably rules him out because he's like 43 years old.
Yeah.
Again, he's got the slightly wrong hair color. He is blonde-ish, but it's a dirty blonde. Very easy to make it brown.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Hunnam
Charlie, why do I know?
from Sons of Anarchy,
Oh,
Green Street,
yeah,
The
yeah.
Gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good actor. I could absolutely see him as Bruce Wayne.
I don't think his age will matter. He's the sort of person that would be able to
Put
stay.
it this way. He was one of the first people that when I saw he was 43, I was like, wow, money really does keep you looking young.
Oh, I could see Charlie Hunnam as a Batman.
Put it this way. If they make him Batman and they say he's 43, that means Batman's probably been doing it for...
Yeah.
I mean, you can make Batman even a bit older so he had longer training. Say he's been doing it for 18 years since he was 25. Went off to start training at 18, trained for 7 years, came back at 25. You could have Damien be like 13, 14 years old to open your casting options for Damien. And he could definitely do the role for at least 10 years. He could make 15 probably work.
Yeah. So my out the box is also quite old. My out the box is 45 years old.
Okay.
Now, I'm just going to bring into the realm here of decision making of the fact that James Gunn said he wants this person to also voice act all the animated stuff, anything in video games.
Uh-huh.
This person's very good at all that stuff. Someone who we've actually already talked about today.
I fucking knew it.
Sam Witwer.
When you said voice acting as well, I was like, I can see where this
Sam Witwer. Like,
just to go back to our point on like people who are early 40s. RDJ was 43 when he was cast as Iron Man.
Oh, well then. Right. Hollywood can make it work.
Don't get me wrong, I do think you have to stay in slightly better shape for Batman. But it's still definitely possible.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But yeah, Sam Witwer.
I have seen Sam Witwer before. I just need to refresh my... I love Sam Witwer. He's a brilliant voice actor. When I look at his face, I see villain.
I get you.
He's got what can only be described as a shit-eating grin.
I know what you mean. I think
he's definitely got the right energy. He's pretty boy enough that people could believe that, like, oh well, of course Bruce Wayne isn't Batman. Look at that face. He's far too. He's never got his nails dirty.
Yeah, I think he'd look good in the cowl as well.
When you do consider everything, I would be really curious because I assume every voice actor has got a Batman voice locked up just in case.
Oh yeah.
He also looks great for 45. Money does wonders.
This is what we've realized. We like screw who we decide actually is Batman. We just know that money buys looks now.
Yeah, 100%. I could see Sam Witwer for sure.
Definitely a bit more out of the box as he's older and
100%.
But we've got a range there.
I think my personal favourite out of all of our decisions is still Nolan Gould. He's so young that he can do it forever. He is crazy smart like Batman is, which just, I don't know why, having an actor who has a trait the same as the character they've been cast as always helps to sell it. They're like, well, Batman's a genius and he's an actual genius.
Yeah.
He's in great shape. And I don't know why. I think it'd be nice to see a Batman with like a naturally curly hair.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just gives me that vibe. But at the same time, going all the way up to like your Sam Witwer and Charlie Hunnam, who we're like, that is like the top of the age we're looking at. They're both about
Tom Ellis
RDJ's
is
age.
in his 40s as
44.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So
like RDJ's age when he was cast as Iron Man. So it's definitely possible that any of them guys could do it for 10, 12 years.
I think for mine, it's like I like the idea of either Tom Ellis or so I could see Sam Witwer being more of like he's been around the block and he's not got the patience that like you say, he's got to face more of a villain, so maybe he's a bit of an like less patience, older sort of vibe.
You know who Sam Witwer would be brilliant for?
Go on.
Hush. Batman villain.
Hush.
Hush. He's a cosmetic surgeon who hates the Wayne family.
Interesting.
He's got the voice for it. And definitely could have some fun with it.
Okay.
Granted, he's basically always in bandages because he's always changing his appearance. But in a film where you're going to have like maybe some detective work for it, you might need him blending into a crowd. So you could just have Sam Witwer be like an extra in a scene. And if everyone knows that he's the voice actor, they'll be like, oh, he was there.
Yeah. I get you, yeah.
Like what they did with in Mysterio in Far From Home.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are our castings for the Batman.
Yeah, I think once we, obviously, like until we get more details on around what the Batman film's going to be, because obviously we've had a lot on the Superman at the moment. Like when we start getting more, we may be able to place age-wise better.
100%. The only thing I will say is for our young castings, they're probably a bit screwed because the bit of information we do have is that it's being based off The Brave and the Bold, where Damian was the Robin, which means it needs to be a slightly older Batman for it to make sense that he has a child.
There's a chance maybe the younger ones play Robin.
What, Damian?
Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose they'll be too... they're probably getting too... You'd have to have then Batman be even older.
Well, there's that, but there's also the fact that Damian kind of needs to be Middle Eastern.
True.
Like, Damian is famously Middle Eastern. Like, and I mean, they're definitely probably too old at that point, especially Tom Heaton at 29.
Yeah.
I could see him playing a brilliant Dick Grayson.
If he rocks up and is about.
Yeah. But yeah, Damian's got to be
True.
Middle Eastern descent. So that, you know, it makes sense.